Welcome friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are discussing about the irrigation engineering. In that session we are discussing about the various phenomena and terminology related to irrigation engineering. In that session we also discuss about the plant water relationships. How can we how can plant use water for their growth? Now, in this module, we have studied about the necessity of irrigation, scope of irrigation, benefits and ill effect of irrigation, irrigation development in India, types of irrigation system, soil water plant relationship, and classification of soil water, soil moisture contents, depth of soil water available to plants, and wilting points. Right? There have been two types of wilting point: permanent and ultimate wilting point. Now, our main conceptual goal of this chapter is that to introduce the student to basic concept of soil, water plants, their interactions, as well as irrigation drainage system design, planning, and management. After that, our goal is to develop the analytical skills relevant to the areas mentioned in above, particularly the design of irrigation and drainage projects. Now, what is the irrigation? The first question or arise in our mind is that what is the irrigation? Generally, uh, our source of irrigation for the 60% of our land is by natural, like rainwater. In the irrigation, we are supplying the water artificially to our plant. In the natural phenomena, the irrigation is done by the rain or natural source of irrigation. Now, generally, it is used to assist in growing the agricultural crops and generally revegetation of disturbed soils in dry mass and during the period of inadequate rainfall. In some season, we also faces the drought. So, due to drought, all the vegetations are dry. So, if you want to rejuvenate or revegetate the areas as per the aspect of our forestry or the our by the for the forest animals, so we have to use that irrigation methodology. Generally, irrigation is often studied together with drainage. Why? Because sometimes we have to remove or fill the water to the our plot or land surface. So we have also provide the drainage with that. So generally, irrigation involves that conception. Right? What we have to do? That means the conceptions. What we have to grow? What are the purpose of our water uses, and what are the benefit of our water uses? After that, we have to plan that how much amount of water we have to give that our field or plot for that type of growing of vegetation. Next thing is that conveyance system. Like how can we design the water supply system? After that, the phase is construction. We have to construct the different network components to convey the water from the our source to our users area. After that, operation. That is the main important factors when we have to deal with that irrigation system is that generally in that operation we are using the different types of statistics and data for maintaining the flow in the our conveyance network or supplying the flow to that particular area as per its requirements. After that, the management of an irrigation system, like we have to also manage that system, like we have to manage the all timetables related to supply of irrigation network. After that, we have to also manage the networks and components that should not be erodible. After it may become a hazardous. Sometimes we are heard that some canals has been break out and many acres land are fully submerged in that canal irrigation waters. So the management of irrigation system is the very important concept. We have to use that irrigation network for purpose of irrigation. Now, what is the necessity of irrigation? Now, another question arise in our mind is that what is the necessity of irrigation? One of the necessity is that insufficient rainfall. Our most of farmers are suffered from that no water availability or seasonal water availability. So, if we are providing the whole year water availability, it could produce the more and more crop and it contribute to our GDP growth. So, due to insufficient rainfall, the loss of farmer has become. If we are providing the proper irrigation channel, so the insufficient rainfall doesn't affect that crop losses to farmer. Second thing is that uneven distribution of rainfall. We are seeing is that in that our country, some of that part of the rainfall are accumulated at the some of the places, but some of the portion of our land are dry without rainfall. So that is the uneven distribution of rainfall. If the rainfall distribution is equally, then I have no problem. But if the rainfall distribution is uneven, there have been some type of drought problem also has been occurred. Now, improvement of perennial crop. Like if we have to improve that types of crop, so we have to provide the artificially supply of water. If the artificial supply of water is not available, so quality of our perennial crop is very poor. We are seeing in that some of that dry areas, like there have been only seasonal rainfall is available, and there cotton cropping has been done. That cotton quality is very poor. But nowadays, our generally dry region like Amreli, that is the generally seasonal rainfall farming areas. But in that present day, due to heavy rainfalls, there have been also used the irrigation practices. But at that time, then the mass amount of rainfall has been not observed that areas. So their crop production quality become a downgrade. Now, the development of agriculture in desert area. That one of the most example of our state Gujarat is that the agricultural in a desert area is Kutch. Kutch is the one type of desert area. By providing the artificial water supply by the canal network to the Kutch, there have been lots of crop growing and the desert mitigation program has been also success at that places. So the development of agriculture in desert area, the irrigation is necessitated. Now, what are the benefit? All of you are understand that generally in the if you are providing the water to crop, the crop giving the more yield. So one of the benefit of irrigation is increase in crop yield. Now protection from famine. As we previously discussed that what is the necessity is to sometimes there have been uneven distribution of rainfall and the no rainfall, also the drought situation. So if we have available irrigation practices and the irrigation networks, so we have been protected from famine or drought, and we are not suffer from the unavailability of water in types of any circumstances. So cultivation of superior crops. Generally in Gujarati we are called Rokadiya Pak. Right? It is called Rokadiya Pak, superior crops. Right? Generally tobacco, cotton and hello and rice are the our generally superior crops. So we have if we want to cultivate that types of crop, so we have to provide the irrigation networks. Sugarcane is also one type of superior crop, so we have to provide the irrigation because that types of crop having a long growth period time, so we have to supply that supply water during the whole year So if we do not have that type of facility, so we cannot cultivate that type of crop. Now, elimination of mixed cropping. Generally, the mixed cropping is a techniques to protect the farmers from the drought or losses of whole crop. So, in the mixed cropping, in the one land, two or more crops are grown parallelly, right? Two or more crops are grown parallelly. So, if one crop is failed and one another crop is giving some revenue to farmer and they can survive their farming. So, if you have available the irrigation water, so we are eliminating the mixed cropping because there are no requirement of losses, no susceptibility of losses during the farming season. Now, economic development. Generally, we are also known that our country is the farming country. Like our main GDP income is coming from farming practices. So, the economic development of our country is dependent on generally farming practices. So, if we are getting the more yield, so our farming may be developed during the our cultivation practices. Now, hydropower generation. If there availability of a large reservoir or dam, so we are also generating the hydropowers. In that next, domestic and industrial water supply. If we have available storage of water, so we have to convey and use for any types of water use purposes. So the domestic and industrial water supply are also fulfilled by providing the irrigation networks. So the water doesn't know that how to use. We have to decide that how we have to use that water. So if availability has been done, then we have to use many purposes. Like water is everywhere used. Now some of the ill effect of irrigation. Generally, if we are providing more water, so the farmers and other stakeholders are use more waters, and that should rising the water table. If the water table is rise, generally crop root has become suited. Like generally crop root become suited and formation of marshy land. Generally, as per the formation of marshy land means unproductive land. And if we are providing more irrigation water, so salination has been done and land become a marshy, like a unproductive. Third thing is the dampness in weather. Generally, if we are having a large usage of water in that particular area, so that create a larger moisture content in the environment, and that is the dampness in weather. So due to dampness, the particular insecticides attack has become a more and our crop damage may be done. Loss of valuable lands. So productive land is become a unproductive. So our valuable land become a unvaluable because of our over irrigation practices. Now, generally, that are the advanced techniques used for irrigation. So, that type of techniques is give a greater representation of our networks. Now, irrigation development in India. Now, in India, what are the irrigation developments has become done at that present? So, the amongst the Asian countries, India is the largest arable land, like plowable land. Only the USA has more arable land than India. But that cannot arable land used for agriculture. That have been available, but we are using the our whole land for agricultural aspect. In the monsoon climate, the agrarian economy like India, like it is called also farming economy, irrigation has played a major role in production process. Now generally During the Indus Valley civilization, we have also seen that irrigation networks like canals, dams, and different types of structure during around the 2500 BC. Now, these irrigation technologies were in the form of small and minor works, which could be operated by a small household to irrigate small patches of land and didn't require cooperative effort. In South Perennial irrigation may have begun with the construction of Grand Anicut and Cholas as early 2nd century to provide the irrigation from Kaveri river. Now, at the beginning of 19th century, there was a large number of water tanks in peninsular India, and several canals in the northern India were built. The Upper Ganga Canal and Upper Bari Doab Canal and the Krishna and Godavari Delta system were constructed between the 1836 to 1866 at the time of British Emperor. During the last 50 years, gross irrigated area of India has increased more than threefold from 22 to 76 million hectares. Now that is the food grain production data of our country as per 60 to 61, 70 to 71, and 80 to 81, 90 to 91. There have been generally large differences between the 19 to 2000, and our goal of target of 2050 is 500 million tons of food grain production. So that is the projected targets that should have to achieve by the government by using that different irrigation practices. Now groundwater irrigation in India develops during a period of green revolution and contributed much in increasing the gross irrigated area of the country. In the last 5 decades, groundwater irrigation has increased from 5 million hectare to 35 million hectare. Now there have been different types of irrigation scheme we have to create for irrigation purpose. So irrigation projects in India are classified into the three categories. One of that major, medium and minor categories. According to area cultivated, we have classified that based on that command area, like culturable command area. So if the project having a cultural command area more than 10,000, but more than 2,000 hectare utilize mostly surface of water resources. So that project is called major irrigation projects. Now projects which have a CCA, culturable commanded area, less than 10,000 hectare, but more than 2,000 hectare utilizes mostly surface water resources. In the minor irrigation projects, project with a cultivable commanded area less than or equal to 2000 hectare utilizes the both groundwater and surface water resources is called the minor irrigation projects. Now, outlook of national water policy. That type of policy has been also framed for water users and dispute redressal between the different states has been involved with that water bodies. Our country has adopted national water policy in the year 1997, which was revised in 2002. The policy document lays down the fact that planning and development of water resources should be governed by the national respective. Generally, there have been different types of aspect during the policy framework. So the irrigation planning, either in the individual project or in the watershed as a whole, should take into account the irrigatability of land, cost-effective irrigation option, possible form of available resources of water, and appropriate irrigation techniques for optimizing water use efficiency. There should be a close integration of water use and land use policies. Water allocation in irrigation system should be done with due to regard of equity and social justice. So the injustice and dispute may become a less. So concerted effort should be made to ensure that irrigation potential created is fully utilized. Irrigation being a larger consumer of fresh water, the aim should be get optimal productivity per unit of water. Now there have been different types of irrigation systems. Generally, the irrigation system also be based on the way the water is applied to agricultural land. So there have been generally flow irrigation and lift irrigation. But as per the flow irrigation, where the irrigation water is conveyed by growing to irrigated land. So that is called direct irrigation, reservoir tank or storage irrigation also. In the lift irrigation, we are digging the one type of well or bore well and we are use the pump to lift the water from that deep surfaces and we are spreading our water to our open land surfaces for purpose of irrigation. It is called the lift irrigation system. Now generally we have also classified the irrigation system on the basis of duration of applied water. So based on duration of applied water, our first system is that inundation and flooding type irrigation system. In that type of system, the large quantity of waters flowing in the river during the flood is allowed to inundate the land and to be cultivated. Right? During the floody season, we are used that excess water for our cultivation purpose. Now the excess water is then drained off and the land is used for cultivation. So land is fully saturated and we are cultivated the 3 to 4 month crops in that types of system. Like a rice crop has been cultivated by using this system. It is also common in area near river deltas where the slope of river and land is small. Now perennial irrigation, in which the irrigation water is supplied according to the crop water requirement at regular interval throughout the life cycle of crop. The water for such irrigation may be obtained from rivers or from wells. Some important terms. We have to use the terms culturable commanded area previously, but now we are understanding what is the culturable commanded area. The gross command area contains unfertile barren land, alkaline soil, local ponds, villages and other areas as a habitation. But these areas are called unculturable areas. The remaining areas on which the crop can be grown satisfactorily is known as cultivable or culturable command area. It is also noted as CCA. Culturable command area can also be further divided into the two categories. The culturable cultivated area and culturable uncultivated area. It is the area in which the crop is grown at a particular time or crop season. So it is called culturable cultivated area. And generally it is the area in which the crop is not sown in a particular season. So that is called culturable commanded area. Culturable uncultivated area. Sorry. So we are using their types of different crop techniques for command areas. Now gross command area. Gross commanded area is generally the summation of culturable command area plus unculturable area. So the drainage boundary which can be commanded or irrigated by the canal system. So the total area laying between the drainage boundary which can be commanded or irrigated by the canal system. Now water tanks. These are the dug areas of land for storing excess rainwater. So some type of depression areas there will be naturally water is stored. It's called water tanks. Now water logged area. An agricultural land is said to be a waterlogged when its productivity or fertility is affected by high water table. The depth of water table at which it tends to make the soil waterlogged and harmful to growth and the subsistence of plant life depends upon the height of capillary fringe. The height of capillary fringe is more for fine grained soil and less for coarse grained soil. Now the outlet. This is the small structure which admits the water from distributing canal to a water course of a field channel. Outlet is a sort of head regulator for a field channel delivering water to the irrigation field. Now the wilting point. There have been two types of wilting point. Generally, it is also called as a wilting coefficient There have been permanent and temporary, two types of wilting points. Generally, is that water content which plant can no longer extract sufficient water from the soil for its growth. It is called the wilting point. Now we are from another points like a temporary wilting point. We are seen in during the dry season is that sometimes the crop has become a dry during the day period and after during the night period the crop fully rejuvenate during the night period. That period of cycle has become a temporary. It is called the temporary wilting point. So whole plant cannot dry, but it should ability to rejuvenate during the night season or extracting the moisture during the night season. Now, what is the soil water relationship? Now, our objective is that what is the relationship between soil properties and water retention. So, we can decide about that how much amount of water should be required for plant growth. Now, there have been two to three types of water availability: potable, irrigation, and water cycle. So, that is called drinkable. Potable water means drinkable or free from contaminants. And irrigation means addition of water to plants to supplement water provided by the rain or snow. So there have been no problem of contamination. Some types of contamination may be allowed for irrigation water. Next is the water cycle. The cycling of water among the water sources to surface to atmosphere back to the surface. That is the we are also knowing about the water cycle. How can rain become come to the earth? Now precipitation. Falling products of condensation in the atmospheric is a rain, snow or hail is called precipitation. To change from the liquid or solid state to a vapor or gas is called evaporation. Now saturate. This happens to soil when water is added until the spaces or pores are totally filled or soil structure may become a totally saturated. Now we are seeing the videos how can plant absorbs the water from the soil.
Absorption of water by plants. The root is the organ of a plant that typically lies below the surface of the soil. The roots do not possess lobes, leaves, and buds, but is branched extensively. The roots are well suited both morphologically and anatomically to absorb water and minerals from the soil. Morphologically, the root system consists of the main root, the lateral roots or the second, and the root hairs or the tertiary roots. The main root gives out branches called the lateral roots or the secondary roots. The lateral roots in turn have number of fine outgrowths called the root hairs or the tertiary roots. Anatomically, the roots consist of root cap, meristematic zone, elongation zone, maturation zone. Root cap is the structure found at the tip of the root which protects the young, delicate, and rapidly dividing cells. Meristematic zone is a few millimeters long and is known as the region of cell division. Meristematic cells, which divide rapidly, are found in this region. Some cells of this region form the root cap and the others form the region of elongation. Elongation zone is also a few millimeters long and is known as the region of elongation. Cells of this region undergo rapid enlargement and leads to root growth. The region of maturation lies above the elongation zone. and extend upwards. Maturation zone consists of a very fine and delicate thread-like structure called the root hairs, around which the lateral branches are produced. The cells of this region undergo differentiation and maturation into various plant tissues based on their functions. Root hairs increase the surface area for absorption of water. Aerial roots are roots exposed to air, extremely long and unbranched. Root tubers are swollen portions of a root that can have buds to produce new shoots, and when broken off, these can grow into a new plant. Substances move from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration using energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. This process is called active transport. Root hair absorbs minerals by the process of active transport. Root hair absorbs water from soil by osmosis. Water then diffuses into the deeper parts of the roots by cell-to-cell osmosis. It passes through the root tissues to the xylem in the root, which carry it to all parts of the plant, that is, the stem and the leaves. Morphologically, should use. Meristematic zone is a few.
I hope you will understand the phenomena of absorption of water by the plants, and you are seeing that how can water absorbed by the plant root, and there are different parts of plant root and different types of root also has been seen in video. We are thankful to Maxis Education for providing this video. I hope you are enjoying this lecture. Now we are meet next at next lecture with that new topics. Thank you.